Did it go okay too?
Okay, let's not wait. Good evening. Call the meeting back to order. Now a motion to reconvene back into open session.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. And do I have a motion that board members certify that only items on the closed session agenda were discussed in closed session?
So moved.
Motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Do we have any help with the pledge? Mr. Leach, you might on your own. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have our consent agenda to approve minutes from our general meeting as well as our call meeting in April. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Recognitions, Dr. Frazier.
Good evening, board members and guests. This is always one of my favorite portions of our agenda where we can celebrate people and the great things that are happening in West Point Public Schools. And so this month, in the month of May, on May 1st, we celebrated National School Principals Day. May 3rd, we celebrated School Lunch Hero Day. May 6th through 10th, we celebrated our amazing teachers and Teacher Appreciation Week. May 8th, we celebrated our awesome nurses and School Nurse Day. May 18th, National Speech Pathologist Day. And on this coming Friday, we will be celebrating and recognizing the class of 2025 at our graduation. This month, we've also recognized National Mental Health Awareness Month, Military Appreciation Month, and National Physical Fitness and Sports Month. At this time, I will call on Ms. Britt for her Student and Staff of the Month, and then followed by Dr. Bird for her.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I have, for our RISE Student of the Month is River Haynes. The specials teachers nominated her, they nominated the Student of the Month this month, and they remarked that River is a third grader that is respectful, showing consideration and respect for teachers, peers, and school rules. She is kind, treating others with empathy and compassion. She is curious, showing a strong desire to learn and asking thoughtful questions. So we are proud of River. And then our staff teacher of the month, we are thrilled to announce Mrs. Paluska. She goes by Miss Hope. So our kids know her as Miss Hope, and she is our RISE teacher staff of the month. Miss Paluska joined us as a substitute and quickly became an invaluable interventionist in our pre-K program. She's a true team player, seamlessly transitioning from supporting students with special needs to assisting in the cafeteria. Miss Paluska is a natural problem solver who approaches every task with positivity. Her empathetic nature and ability to build strong relationships with all our littles make her a favorite among our students and staff alike, and we're so lucky to have her.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So our students of the month, for the middle school, we have 6th grader Rory Latham. She was described as responsible and fair by her teacher. She was nominated because she spoke up for a friend who was being mistreated by another student, and she stepped in to do the right thing, which we appreciate and we encourage. So she is a dedicated friend and kind to others, and we thank her for being a model citizen at our school. Our high school RISE award goes to 10th grader Corey Jarrett. Corey was described as demonstrating respect, responsibility, excellence, and fairness by his teacher. His teachers say that he is always kind to his friends, gets along with everyone, and he's an excellent and respectful student. So we thank Corey for being a positive leader. Our staff member of the month, I will say she goes quietly about doing amazing things. So the students say that she is hardworking, sweet, helpful, and kind. She's always there to help if a student doesn't understand the subject, and always there to listen if a student needs an ear. They say she's very funny and makes someone who's had a bad day feel more seen and welcome, which is amazing. One student said, and I quote, "She always has a positive attitude, has infinite, capital letters, patience, don't know how she does it, and she always gives her all when she's helping students. No matter what the class, she's always there, and she is a star." And that is Mrs. Tara Dowdy. So we thank Ms. Dowdy for her hard work.
All right. So tonight I also have some other special recognitions. But I need to look for my seat. And so first I want to start with an employee who this year really took on a lot of extra work. This person filled in as the office of the elementary school was often shorthanded because one of our employees was dealing with some medical challenges. And this person really just went above and beyond all school year. Oftentimes balancing two jobs, but did it with a smile on her face. And anytime we walked into that office at the elementary school and asked what she needed, she said she was okay. She had it. And so we just want to take a few minutes to recognize Jane Winter for everything The next person, you all know that I spent a lot of time talking about pointing us in the right direction and us being pointed in the right direction. Well, I can't do that by myself. That takes us our full school community to do that. And so when I say our school community, that's our students, our teachers, our staff, our school board members, our administrators, but it also takes volunteers. And one particular volunteer goes above and beyond to make sure that we look good at all times. And he captures those moments. In athletics, in the arts, and anytime he can, he makes sure that our school division is pointed in the right direction by the way that we look to our school community. And so for that, we are thankful for Mr. Agnew and all that he has done and continues to do for Westmoreland Public Schools. It's a coincidence that we have both of our photographers.
I know, right?
All right, and so next we have a person who, since 2014, has gone above and beyond to make sure that our schools have been kept safe. They have a love and compassion for students, for our staff, and for this community. This person, once upon a time, was the school resource officer at both schools, so running back and forth all day long. A few years ago, he got a partner in crime, and he was able to focus more on the middle school, high school, but still, it's his campus. And he makes sure that our schools are safe, that our students have what they need, that our school community is taken care of. He notices a car in the parking lot if it doesn't belong there. He notices when students just aren't right. And so we are grateful for Officer Schran and we celebrate him in this next journey of his life as he retires from his role as school resource officer. So we have some other retirees. 2 of them could not be here. So we are going to recognize them next month. Like, they're not going to get out of coming to the room and being recognized in front of everyone. But one of them is here. And this is one of the smoothest, coolest guys that you will ever meet. And that is Mr. Bradley. We are thankful for Mr. Bradley and his service to West Point Public Schools. From 2003 to 2025, Mr. Bradley has been a fixture here in our buildings. He is one of those teachers that students love. He runs a classroom that is structured. It is no nonsense, but kids are in his class and they learn every day. He is not afraid to embrace the technology, and you can go into his room and they're doing games and they're doing different things, you know, as he's teaching history, but he wants to make sure that that they're truly engaged. But I think one thing that separates Mr. Bradley from most is there's not an extracurricular activity that happens in West Point that Mr. Bradley and Miss Bradley attend. And students know that he's going to be there. And when we talk about RISE, that R in relationships is Mr. Bradley. He builds those relationships because he shows up and he's present. He's present for our students and present for our school community. So, while Mr. Bradley says he's retiring, I've already told him he can come back and substitute. We'll find something for him to do to keep him busy. And if we got to get him another West Point polo to do it, then we will do it. But Mr. Bradley, we thank you for your service to West Point Public Schools. So before you leave, there are your boxes out there, so you can take your have a box to keep your gifts. And so that concludes recognitions for the night.
Thank you all to the retirees, especially the time you give our community. We appreciate it. You made a difference, like Dr. Frazier said. Relationships is a big part of it. I think you all helped us tremendously there. So thank you for Ms. Witter for keeping us well managed. Not retired. Mr. Agnew, you too, like Dr. Frazier said, like you capture the spirit of our students at all of the events. And so, thank you for, giving them and the families, everyone, like memories. It's just
amazing pictures.
you just capture the spirit. So it's just, we thank you for your artistry, but we're probably even more deeply grateful for your generosity of your time. Because you're everywhere, and it's been great. So thank you. Are we gonna get Mr. Bradley another polo shirt?
Is that all it takes? That's pretty cheap.
Well, what you have to do, I told him that I told all of our retirees that the doors here in West Point remain open. They are always part of the Corner family. So if there are opportunities for them to come back to volunteer, if there are opportunities for them to come back to work, whatever it is, we will take that for the stuff. So take a short break. We'll come.
Well, thank you all. If anyone wants to say, they're more than welcome to, but this is typically where.
I like it on you.
Next up, we have our presentations.
If folks are going to leave, Miss Brittany, make sure that someone gets it on.
Okay, Ellie, you're going first.
Oh, you are? Okay, news to me. We're gonna.
Well, I just kind of sat there and
decided
decided,
5 seconds ago.
this is all about winging it.
And we were like, okay.
It's 5 seconds.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying, so, I just wanted to, I didn't know we were supposed to, like,
Oh, yeah, it's been a process.
this is like crucial.
We've gotten lots of, lots of watches.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them were like, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Alright, let's talk about this.
That was
Yeah.
good.
I'm happy to admit, all the time. So good evening, the counseling staff is thankful to be here tonight to share some things with you. So this has been about a 2-year process for Mr. Leach, Mrs. Powell, and myself, in trying to find what we thought would be a good career development software that our students could use, and that we could use, not only from the counseling staff perspective, but also in the classrooms, to help our students explore what's out there. Because a lot of them say, I just don't know what to do. Or when we're picking classes, I just don't know what to pick to make sense of what I may want to do in the future. So many Zoom presentations, many training webinars, many times Nate and Kaylee and I sat together and we landed on Zello. And I think the thing we liked about it the most is how interactive it is, and also that this is a program that can follow the student from starting with us to graduation, and really beyond if they want to use it after. So what each of us would like to do is just spend a couple minutes showing you what the grade levels look like and how we're using it and then how we see it being used in the future. Okay, so I'll turn it over to you first.
Oh, thank you very much. Hey, good evening. So my name is Ellie Golden. As you all know, I'm a school counselor over at Austin Elementary School, and it's a pleasure being here with you. So for Zello K through 5, okay. So there's, and I'm a Nervous Nelly presenter, so I have my little backup like card, Nervous Nelly Ellie presenter. So thank you, and face paint, we had an
I was
amazing
about to
field
say,
day.
it's field
So
day.
yeah. So thank you for that, but it was super fun. So K through 5 Zello has 2 age-specific modules. So the first one here is actually our K through 2, which is going to look the same for each grade. 3 through 5, it has its own module, but it varies a little bit per grade. So for kindergarten through 2nd, they go to Career Town. So they are detectives solving a mystery. There's missing workers. Super cool. So let's enter Career Town. Oh, dude, this was thank you for telling me. Okay. Oh. Oh, yay, the homework. I wasn't sure what that was going to be on. So,
When my secret creation is complete, I, Ernestine McNohire, will be the one in charge.
so that's Ernestine McNohire.
Hi, I'm Detective Jill. Welcome to the Detective Academy. Here, students learn to become detectives so they can solve problems and help the citizens of Careertown.
Okay, so when you go in,
Let's set up your detective profile.
Sorry.
Don't be shy. Come on in so we can get started.
You can set up your avatar when you're happy there. You go into Career Town. And I'm sorry guys, it's
A good detective asks questions to build case files. Let me start by asking you a question. This is your D-pad, short for detective pad. This is where your answers will be kept. Select the icon to open your D-pad.
All right, so we can go into the D-pad there. I would also like, there we go, in the middle, that picture behind them, that is your Career Town. So after your D-pad's super cool, it's like once you finish a location, you get a badge. So that Career Town in the middle picture, you see there's 6 locations. So there's 6 career clusters. So you have like your helping, nature, health, fixing and building, business, creative.
So they chose 6 locations. So they have a park, a farm, a hospital, a construction site. There's dirty dogs at the pet shop that need to be cleaned. So the kids, you see they have soap and they do bubbles and there's a countdown timer because they're helping out that business because they're missing a worker. So you have no art gallery. Each location that they enter, you meet an employee of that location of that business. They tell you about their career and then they, oh no, we're missing a worker. We need your help. So with the art gallery, there's no art. The kids make art. In the hospital, oh my gosh, we're missing a paramedic. And I've had 2nd graders and Miss Ferguson's and Miss Cooper's literally go, Miss Golden, oh my gosh, the ER is crazy. It's really cool. So that's our K through 2. And then, let's see. Oh, Kaylee, you are amazing. Thank you for having us up. So now we're entering 3 through 5. So, we're focusing in a lot of areas. We do that. A lot of like future readiness. So I like one of the training videos they had in Zello. So the goal is to give students a head start on building self-knowledge, the about me there, learning about opportunities you can see in career, and then setting goals. So they do a lot in here, and then they tie into their missions. And this kind of brings everything together. You can see like the social emotional keys, like managing big feelings, setting goals. Then you go into, at the end, actually talking about our entrepreneurship, starting a business, and what they put in, like their interest and things like that actually come into their missions. So I was very impressed by that. So I'm interested in starting a pet sitting business. When they're actually doing their missions, it'll be like, hey, when you're setting your goal, what would be one of your goals towards your pet sitting business? So I was very impressed. And so we actually, last piece here, sorry, I know I'm kind of long. So we used Zello for 5th grade for the Career Wax Museum. So they researched their careers in there. They wrote like a paper that was their presentation when they came to life there. And I did a post survey. So when I asked them about it, basically it was, here we go. While using Zello to research careers, did you learn about a career you had not heard of before? So out of 52 students, 30 said yes. So 22 no, but I was happy about that. Hopefully we can do even more next year. And did this project increase the amount you were thinking about your future career? 40 out of 52 said yes. So good results. And my last one, oh, thank you guys, I'm super proud of this, is did you enjoy this project, which is last but not least, and 46 out of 52 said yes.
Yay.
So it's been a hit. I've had kids in the hall stop and ask, Ms. Golding, can we play the game? And I was like, was it Headbands? Was it Uno? Like, which game is it? It was Zello. They wanted to do more Zello, so it's been a hit. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all more properly.
Alright, so we're gonna keep moving up. I'm gonna get rid of these because unfortunately left elementary behind. I'm Kaylee Powell, middle school counselor, middle high school. One really cool thing about Zello that Ellie didn't cover is the access that we have as counselors and administrators have over the entire division. So as Ellie's kids move up to me, as my kids half move up to Amy, we can see everything, which is great. It also gives us the ability to train educators. So we can't do it all, but we can ask our career investigations class, we can ask our English teachers, we can ask even our math teachers to incorporate Zello into their lessons as well, which was a huge bonus for us. So the middle high school format looks very similar, but the programs that they have access to are different, and it looks completely different than elementary. So the designers of Zello made it so that it looks very similar to an old style Facebook. And when I said that to my 6th graders, they all looked at me like I had four heads because they were like, that's so old, this is how. So I said, okay, well the same is true on TikTok and BeReal and all these other programs that you guys are using, and they were impressed that I even knew what BeReal was. So that's a win, right? So as they go through these assessments, whether it's the matchmaker, whether it's the personality test, whether they complete missions, learning styles, this information changes. And it becomes more geared to their particular interests and their particular career choices, which is really cool. Our students in the 6th through 8th grade have already completed their matchmaker, and that is just a simple quiz that asks, what do you enjoy, what do you not enjoy, that kind of thing. And what happened is when they completed that, it matched them to careers that match their interest. And they obviously start, as you can see, with excellent match, and then they go on. What's cool about this is they realize there are careers out there that they had no idea about. One of my favorite stories was a 7th grader raised their hand and said, "Did you know that there are people who are window washers?" And I said, "No, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well, they climb on these big things, and then they use these things." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he was like, "Yeah, I love that." And I said, "Okay, great." So they're continuing to learn about careers that they had no idea exist, which is awesome. Another piece of this for the middle school is that 8th graders complete their academic and career plans. Because Zello is still a little new, we can't quite get to printing the plans for this year, but by next year it'll all be straight so that whatever they complete in Zello will match their career and academic and career plan, and it'll be printable for them to move on to the high school. There are lessons that are specific to each grade level, portfolios. They can set goals. They can plan for college in a way that's appropriate for middle school students, and learn more about themselves. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and then she'll cover the high school part.
Hi, I'm Amy Rush. I'm the high school counselor. Just go back to the dashboard. Oops. Okay, I need your password.
What grade do you want?
11. Just 11. So to piggyback a little bit on what Kaylee and Ellie have shared, again, we're going to oversee longitudinal information about students because we also know the students change as they go through school. And all the 9th through 12th graders, all the 9th through 11th graders completed the matchmaker and the personality style assessments this year before the end of the school year. The lessons that she mentioned, each grade level has specific lessons that are designed for developmentally where those students are at that time. This is something we're definitely going to incorporate next year in classrooms a little bit more than we were able to do this year. What I really liked about this at my level is not only can I see what the students said they liked in middle school and elementary school, but I get a lot of students that come in and say, "I just don't know what's out there and I don't know what to do." And this is the first time I'm able to sit down, pull up information and data about that student and say, "Well, look, your personality style and your matchmaker brought up these careers. What can we see in those things that maybe is exciting for you?" The other thing I really liked about this is if they click on any career, it gives them not only a description of the career, but the core tasks that someone does in that career, what kind of demand is in the field. So am I looking at a career that actually is going to be something that's available to me when I graduate from high school or college? Where would I work? What could I earn? And in Virginia, what could I earn? So if I want to stay, what are the career paths? And then at the end here in the education and training section, because a lot of what I do is post-secondary planning, they can look at a major and drill down into schools that offer that major. And so once they get there, they then see information about the school, what type of tuition's there, how many students were accepted last year, how many students applied. And at any point, the students can save any of this. And they can go straight to a dashboard that says my saved information. So it's really useful, and we really just have scratched the surface of what this system can actually do. One thing we're going to incorporate next year is what's called the course planner. So this system talks to PowerSchool. So a student's transcript basically is in Zello for them. So they can quickly see, okay, what did I take? Now I do a graduation checklist with every student. They have many different ways they can look at this, but this is another way for them to view their academic record. And then what we're going to do next year is you see they can actually choose their courses in Zello, and it will upload to PowerSchool, which will save each of us about a week of work, because we have to hand load all of the requests now. We have to enter them ourselves. So Zello having that compatibility with PowerSchool is another big sales point for us, that hopefully next year we'll be able to choose their courses here by looking at what they've already taken, what's required for the diploma, and then that information will be uploaded up to PowerSchool for us. So lots of wins with this program so far, and we're really just in the infancy stages of working for us. So questions for any of us?
Can you talk a little bit about the parent side?
Oh, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Please.
Yes, so that's actually a question we had when we were rolling this out. I actually used this in some of my course planning meetings this spring with parents, and they asked, well, when can we see this? And so we're working with Zello now to get the parent portal up and running. so that parents will be able to log in and see all of this information about their student. What were the results of the matchmakers and the personality styles and those type of things. And then also be able to see, actually be able to see what their student has chosen. So this can also start some conversations at home. I didn't know you were interested in this particular career. Well, that's going to take you going to college. Let's start that conversation maybe now in 5th or 6th grade instead of 11th grade. So Katie's going to sign them up to show you. And we showed the students, they all have access to this now. They log in through a single login through Clever, so they can go forward in this if they want. They can do more of the personality. We did several of them in class, but we showed them, like, go in and explore, go in and see.
I'm gonna make an assumption, dangerous, but that when they go in and they can select their courses, you guys in the end though are the final, like you double check it and everything. Okay, of course, making the assumption, but making sure.
I know, double check it about.
Because these, you know,
Yeah.
you need brains sometimes.
I'm sorry, I didn't, it's not.
Sorry, we should have had this prepared, I apologize.
It's okay.
You asked me to make sure I had my password.
I know, the other, you turned your password.
I'd like to do Matchmaker and see if it gives the same results I had when I did.
Right. And the matchmaker is a
I don't think it will.
dislike to like,
I remember
and then
doing
there's a number of little smiley faces in the middle. And so one thing we talked as soon as we were in the classroom, like, have an opinion. Because if you just pick not sure, you're just gonna get the vanilla, any career. Like, I really dislike that, I really like it. So try to have an opinion,
Yeah,
and that way your results will be a lot more refined.
even if it's just a little bit, one
Right.
area, yeah.
Okay.
So you can see all of your children, so obviously we're gonna add our children and add. And then you can choose based on your child. So you can view the account as a demo, or you can select your specific child. And it'll show you all of their saved options. So if they completed any surveys and careers, like this person put sociologist, graphic designer, florist. You can see their course planner, so you can see what courses they've already taken, how many credits they received. It also goes through the graduation checklist. Like Amy said, she prepares one for every student. But this will be a one-stop shop for many parents, which is nice. College planning, you can see their lessons, so what lessons they've completed and what lessons they have left. Advisement notes, so we meet with the student, surveys, and then ultimately the assignments that we've assigned to them as well. So, and you can flip back and forth to all students. So our plan is to launch this out at the beginning of next year to parents. We wanted to make sure that we had our ducks in a row before we did so, but I think it will also help our communication with parents to know what students are doing and kind of what they have planned for next. Any other questions? Well, thank you guys for your time. Here's
Yeah. Great, thank
No,
y'all.
thank you. I would just say, like, I always try to true back to our mission and our values and what we do. Like, to me, this is a great example of living the values, right? It's innovation, it's student-centered, it provides you an opportunity to deepen relationships. And
It's excellent.
Right, yeah. So, I still would like to do Matchmaker and see.
We'll look.
Yeah.
We'll look. We'll get you an account.
Okay, yeah.
Without messing up her stuff, until we ask that question.
Yeah.
And
You
their,
did?
and their excitement about this
Yeah.
tonight
Very
is like they have consistently been excited about this program since day one. And the students have been talking about it, like everyone truly enjoys it. And so I think that this is really a game changer. You know, I had something to say to Mr. Leach about how much time they were spending in the program. But at some point we gotta pick something, right? But I think they picked the right program that really works for us. And it has many capabilities. So we're excited to see what it will continue to do for us.
Delegations, Mr. Leach. None, okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, reports. Our field house update. Bowers in attendance here.
Thank you all. I have to follow that. So, and I will say that it hurt my heart a little bit that I saw all the A careers in architecture. It's not like the biggest one. And I was like, what, anesthesiologist? Who wants to be that?
I was surprised sociologists made $160,000 a year. I was like, hold on.
It was the first one that I was like, it's not too late. You know?
That's why I want to do matchmaking.
Okay, good evening, Josh Barber, Private Global Architects. We are going to talk about the field house where we currently are, show you the design. We're wrapping up the design this week, and we're getting ready to submit this to the town for review, and looking to go into figure short. We'll get from the schedule in a moment. So this is the site plan, and we are intentionally placing the field house far enough away from whatever addition could possibly be planned. We just want to make sure that whatever the decision is, and whenever the decision is, that we have enough room. So the white line shows the last presentation that we presented, the addition with all the classrooms, and we're about 45 feet away from the face of the quote-unquote addition to the face of the field house. So there's plenty of room there to be able to do whatever we want for the addition, and when and if that ever happens, but not so far away that it's, the students have to pack a lunch to be able to get from the building to the field house itself. The other thing is that was important. I don't know if I probably can't show on the screen.
With the mouse.
With the mouse? Oh, look at that. There we go. So we're also connecting the sidewalk. So the ankle sidewalk that comes out of the current high school building to the track is that we're going to be connecting, intersecting that and running to the field house itself. And we'll show you the floor plan here in a minute. And then we're going to do a partial sidewalk around the building itself. If we have the funds, we may go around the building, all the way around, but right now we're projecting that the best path and the most is to just have the sidewalk around a portion of it. But we think that this is a very simple layout. Our civil engineer talking with the town thinks that this would be a relatively fast review. It's a minor plan, and then it'll be just a couple of weeks for them to review it, get comments back to us, and we can address those comments. Do not expect really any significant challenges. The biggest challenge that we've had is the sanitary sewer. So that's the exit going out of the building. So we will have boys and girls restrooms in the restroom in the building itself. We're looking at where could we connect. So you have you have a couple of toilet rooms. You have toilet rooms here. We also have over in the elementary school, we have the kitchen, and we're looking at probably the biggest challenge is that the two interconnecting streets is where the sanitary sewer is on public water, public sewer system. And so as we go further away, the invert. Okay, so again with the sanitary sewer system, you want it to flow by gravity. Okay, so you want the farthest way to be the highest point, and then it slides as it exits out. So essentially what we end up having is the points that we want to connect into are the highest points. Yeah. It's not working we're not getting any love, receiving any love on this. And so, and the other challenge is we're so far away from the buildings to be able to make this work. So we are in the process of maybe trying to come up with a alternate plan and a backup plan, which what you're already using is a on-lot septic system. So that will be the backup plan as far as where to connect. My preference and our goal is to connect into the public water system and sewer system. It's going to come down to, can we gravity flow? The other option is to do a pump, which also is not awesome. You can do a pump. We ended up having to do a new 250,000 square foot high school for 1,800 students off a pump. Think, hey, that's unfortunately what we had to do. The challenge of that was that one day the person cutting the grass hit the box that had the pump and proceeded to not tell anybody.
Oh, no.
So the students are out there playing soccer. I'm like, wow, it's kind of a little funky out here. And so they started to realize that in fact 1,800 students worth of event was not going to where it needed to go. So again, we're going to make sure that we do the best for you guys. We are looking at every single inadvertent where we can connect and being more creative. The backup to that is the pump. The backup is the sanitary sewer. But again, we're going to have a great solution that is going to be the least obtrusive for everybody. Any questions on the site plan?
How close is it? Is it something where you could raise the finished floor elevation of the field house and make it work?
So that is one other option. Is to raise it up. So we could raise up in which case the only challenge is going to be over here to get out. You know, the challenge is with any building now we have to have two accessible means of egress. So I don't want to get into a whole bunch of ramps and other pieces that kind of get a little funky. And if we get up too high towards a step, you really need a handrail on that too. So I'm trying to avoid and do the best scenario. The good news that is really the only thing that we see as a challenge. You know, everything else has gone swimmingly. The HVAC system, the design, everybody's been wonderful. The connection, the location, that is the one challenge, and I'd be shocked if any project doesn't have a challenge. Okay, everybody, any other questions on the site plan? Okay, the building itself. The previous versions, we've shown you different versions. We've kind of flipped it, mirrored it, and mirrored it over again. So the side that is on the plan south, or the bottom of the plan, is facing towards the high school, and the athletic fields or the stadium is on the north side, or on the upper side. So you can see that sidewalk wrapping around, going from left to right. We have a classroom. We're really excited about what this classroom is going to offer you. Everything from health classes to PE classes to just extra class space, testing space. You know, what's nice about this, it really is isolated from a noise standpoint from the rest of the building. And giving you an additional class is going to be really, really beneficial for you as a program. That's the space in blue. Then going to the right, we have the men's, women's, or boys and girls toilet rooms that are accessible from both the inside of the building and from the outside of the building. What we're going to do is we're going to have locks in them, so that way you can lock. So if you want to have students that are practicing, you know, for kind of the setup point there, they can do some running in the space. We would propose that we'd have weightlifting equipment both on the top side and the bottom side in the green to really great to have some dynamic space. At the end, we have a coiling door to be able to get equipment in and out easier, and also large groups of students in and out easier on the right hand side. You can see the swing doors we also have to have by code because of the amount of students that or occupants we can have in the space. And so the goal here is to make this as friendly as possible. Then going to the farther to the left, we have the space in pink, which is the office. It could be 80 office under other space with windows looking out towards the athletic fields. So whoever's in that office, that they are going to have both views looking out at the fields and views of the multi-purpose room. So they're really going to be the gatekeeper of what's happening inside the space and also in the stadium. Then all the way to the top left is a storage space, and that will have a large coiling door to fit both of your golf carts. And also additional equipment into that space. We've been blessed with meeting with everybody from the building principal to Mr. Leach and Dr. Frazier, your AD, other folks. I said everybody has had input in this, and everybody feels really good about how the spaces lay out and how they tie together in the building itself. Any questions on the building?
So I do. Sorry. So the bathrooms are on the side closest to the high school.
Yes.
But the dual intention of it is to be used for the athletic field. Is there a reason why we don't have it on the other side, so the doors are closer to the athletic field versus the school?
Yeah, so the preference as far as location goes was to have the storage and the office to be facing with the stadium as opposed to the toilets themselves. They weren't concerned about the students having to walk around the building. There is going to be a sidewalk around, but the visual was more important, you know, for the AD to be able to view that than it was to have the students and the toilet rooms on that side. But we did. We had the toilets on that side. We had the building flipped. We've run this. I think this is the 8th version, and everybody feels really good. I know it's like 7 rooms, right? But everybody feels really good about the location of all the pieces in here. Plus, you also have the toilet rooms you currently have, which are on the other side of the stadium. So it's really kind of 2 locations. One's on both sides to be able to utilize that.
And then as you're also looking at the concern that has come up with the throwers and folks on that side
Mhm.
having to go so far. So this would eliminate us having to have portable toilets across the property.
I know I'm in favor of bathrooms, but it's just the side of the building was my question. Okay.
Any other questions on the floor plan? So the elevations. So the uppermost elevation is what you would see facing towards the stadium. So again, that large coiling door, which is storage room, the door to the classroom. I'm sorry, the door to the storage room, and then into the classroom we have windows. These square windows will be in the classroom. This end is on the far side. This is towards the multi-purpose room side with the large coiling door. And then this elevation will be towards the high school itself. So with the two windows and the door to go in the classroom, and then the doors in the multi-purpose room. The proposal is to have the basically a water table, which is going to be brick, to go up to be about 4 feet. And from there up would be the metal panel, and then the roof would be metal panel. Is what we're proposing for the elevation. We went back and forth on what do we do for the bottom course. I've been blessed to do a number of field houses, and what I would say is running the metal panel all the way down to the ground is not an awesome idea, especially when you look at grass and balls getting kicked and other things like that. Well, it's going to be a heavy duty metal panel. Trying to avoid rocks and other items hitting it is a positive. It also dresses up a little bit, and because we're already doing concrete and other things, having a mason, the folks doing the concrete can also do the masonry too, because if it's just brick. We also looked at doing a decorative masonry, and everybody felt doing a brick that was complementary towards the high school would be a better fit. And then some of these verticals are just going to be, so we'll have gutters and downspouts, gutters running all the way down with just because this is a simple gable, and then these are just downspouts that go down to be able to carry the rainwater itself. Any questions on the elevations? Okay, and then this is just a rendering, an axonometric of what the building is going to, how the building shapes out. As a simple gable running all the way down, so you can get a feel for that, that brick running around the perimeter as a water table, the rainwater conductors, the downspouts, and then the sidewalk that goes around the perimeter. So it's going to be a nice elevation. One thing that's not shown in this rendering, because I don't have that as an item, is the snow guards. So the snow guards do two things for you. One is that they're really a snow and ice guard. Okay, so if you see the metal roof, they're basically either the pieces that hold the ice, and snow from coming down, or it's a bar that runs across. I'm a fan of the bar because the individual pieces, either they get glued on or they get screwed on, and they often get popped off. So the bars are a little more heavy duty. But the important part is it does two things for you. One is it doesn't hurt anybody, as that ice, comes off the roof, doesn't, and snow comes off the roof. But the second piece is it tends to rip your gutter off. So if you have a metal roof at home, or if you've seen it commercially, is that when that comes down, gravity starts to drop and it grabs that gutter and just rips it right off your building. So the cost is that there is a cost to the snow guard, but from a safety and from a longevity of the building, we think it is a wise investment.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, is that a downspout right between the two bathroom doors?
Yes, ma'am, right here.
Okay. I was just curious with the water coming down and then it freezing and then people trying to go in the bathroom. I was just curious if that was a downspout.
Is that the sidewalk right there too, right?
Yeah.
Right, so we would have boots, so the idea is that we're gonna capture stormwater, because the other thing that we have to do with this building is we have to address the stormwater. Because of the size of it, we're not monkeying with more than an acre, so we don't get an NPDES and other pieces on this, but we do need to address the stormwater, because it is a 4,000 square foot building. So we're gonna be capturing each of these into a boot, so it's not like it's gonna kick out and spill all over the sidewalk like we would have at our home. So it's gonna capture in a boot, collect that, and then disperse out. So, is what the plan is. So yes, and the reason for the location is you can see it's kind of equidistant. It's divided into 4 pieces.
Right.
For that. So is that okay then?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
I just wanted to,
I don't know what boot is, but it sounds fine.
Yeah, I'll Google it later.
Cast iron piece, that was
not that that's what it
Okay.
would do, I just wanted to verify, cause you know, I'm thinking, legal perspective of people getting hurt.
Yes, my daughter, who is going to be a junior in interior design school, we were just looking at a house and it had those boots, and she's like, Dad, why don't they just dump on the ground like they do at our house? I'm like, because Daddy can afford the nice boots, like ours just dumps out of the ground and then, I keep thinking, ours there to carry it, so, great question, Steve. Okay, and then schedule, so we're looking to wrap up this week, with the construction documents. We're looking to submit this to the town for review. So that's from the standpoint of the land development piece. They're going to be looking at the stormwater, how we're addressing that, where it's going to be located at, making sure there's not an issue with proximity to the buildings. So they informed us that it's going to be, because of the size, it'll be a relatively fast review. So we're hoping 3 weeks, no more than 4 weeks. We receive the comments. Unless the comments are egregious and we need to do a major effort, is that we're looking then to answer those comments and then put that out for bid while we're doing the final review for that. So we're planning to respond to the town comments. We're looking to receive bids in the beginning of June and start construction within a couple of weeks. So what happens is that once we receive bids, we're going to take time to review those, make sure that all of the items in the drawings are connected with the number. It's unfortunate when you do a public bid. Sometimes, there's 3 bids, $1 million, 800,000, and one guy, girl is at 200,000. You're like, okay, there's no way you're building this building. So you want to debrief with them and say, are you really sure that you can do this for $200,000? And they go, oh, you wanted a roof? No, we didn't. So between the, making sure that everything is captured and contracts and insurance, start construction, and then we're looking to complete construction no later than the end of September. Is what the overall plan is. It may be able to be done faster, but I'm trying to give you an idea of what I think is a real time frame for everything. So the town, I didn't speak with the town, our civil engineer did, but they felt really good that it could be a fast review. It's not going to be a 3 or 4 month review, which sometimes we can get, or a 12-month review, because it is a 140 by 60 building, so we feel good about the schedule, but again, with everything else, the things are subject to change, but we feel good that this is reasonable for you. Any questions, concerns?
Josh,
Yes,
this is the June 8th and June 21st dates. Should that be July?
Oh, yes, John.
That's July.
Yeah, it should be July. My apologies.
So start July 21st.
Yeah, July 21st. Yeah, it's a little bit aggressive from.
I was like, we're gonna get bids before the holidays.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you copy and paste, things down so it's all the same font. Thank you for bringing that up.
The first 2 letters are the same.
Yeah.
I just didn't want people to think that.
Yeah.
Overall, the market though, you feel pretty good for a project like this.
Where you're at, yes. We are not receiving a lot of great love in some other areas. But I feel good that with the love that we've already received, for this project and for the area, I think that we are going to receive good numbers. The challenge with this is we can get a person to do the metal building, but what is not uncommon that they don't want to necessarily hire the electrician and the plumber and everybody else goes along with it. So the challenge here is either finding somebody who's willing to do that, or to be a general contractor who's willing to hire all these different elements. What we found with EVA is it's really great about pushing it out. Plus, when we do a project, we also send it to all the plan rooms, because not everybody's checking EVA with it. Now, EVA, even as an architect, we have it. We can set it up so that way every time a school project comes up in Virginia, it sends us a note. Regardless of whether it's $100 million or $10. But the market has calmed down. We're not seeing quite the escalation in numbers, and also the lack of contractors being interested in projects. We're getting some love, and I certainly know that because I get phone calls, from block folks, and contractors are like, hey Josh, just looking for the spring. What's anything happening going on? 2 years ago, we received no calls. As a matter of fact, I would call folks and say like, yeah, Josh, we're busy for 2025 calls in 2026. So we are seeing a different market. It's not amazing, but it's definitely a better market than it was a year or 2 years, and especially 3 years ago.
On the mechanical side, are the clear story windows, are they operable as far as for fresh air, or are we just, all fresh air is gonna be through the HVAC?
So right now we have all the fresh air through HVAC. We can make those operable. The challenge is going to be because they're so high is it is coming up with a mechanism to open the windows themselves. I can do it for the roller shades to have, but the windows themselves will be a little bit of a challenge. What I was thinking is that the overhead doors, that large overhead door could be opened up to allow a larger volume, and then the large fans that allow a lot of movement in the space. So that was, as we're looking at this, for the closed door being able to open up, and having a large fan here to allow this space to breathe itself. I don't know that I would want to get electronics where the window is electronically open, just from a cost standpoint, and now, all the lower windows, we certainly, all the lower windows we can make operable in the classroom. In the classroom, along with these are for all the classroom. This is in the office. We can make all of those operable.
I was just thinking high school athletics in August. So. For sure.
We talked about that from one of my meetings, especially with that garage door to be able to.
Can we prep over that garage door for the blocking to put a canopy in later if we need to?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. We're doing any signage on the building at all?
We don't have it as part of this. I was thinking that's something we could do as a secondary element. We could have a lot of fun with this, right? Especially on, this end faces towards the school, and so we can have a lot of fun with getting some different signage. We could put it as part of this package, just one more element that I don't want folks to look at this and be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. So I was intentionally trying to keep this simple. We can certainly put blocking in, to make sure we have, whatever we want, and just get a signage company to do it for us.
It was just supporting circuit board. It was one of the things that maybe the power side. Speaking of that, where are we pulling service from for the power?
I believe it's coming right from the high school itself. I think that, in talking with the engineers, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's empty panels where? Is it here?
It was in the, come down.
Down here? Yeah, it was right here. So, so again, it was not a far distance to be able to connect, and they were not concerned about the power.
There's like a storage area, actually in the course room in the back corner. That's what they're looking for.
Are we tying into the drop inlet right there in the playground as far as the storm? Just south of that, no, keep going further south. Right there's one. Drop inlet right there.
Right here?
Yep. That's the only one I know out there, but.
Yeah, maybe they can run that in the sanitary in the same trench, It's not in the same location. We had a conversation earlier today. I said, hey, can't we just, there's an existing sanitary and we're running our new water line through it. I said, can't we just mix them together? And somebody goes, actually, this is being recorded on that. But I think the only concern so far, the engineers feel good about electric. They feel good about getting water to it, and the stormwater. What they didn't feel good was the sanitary, which I said, the next couple of days should be resolved.
We're making accommodations for low voltage to tie back into the school as far as for communications.
Yes, technology was in our last meeting, so they felt good that we were going to go and get that in there for communication. Because the other thing too is that with fire alarm is that we want the alarm, even if the high school building goes off or vice versa, that we want them to be interconnected, so that way one goes off, that the students in the field house don't have any idea that that's if there's an activity. So.
Right.
Or a Josh Bauer come to the office again. If there's an announcement, they want to make sure that it's
or a safety concern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Is this it's been a pretty good process, and we appreciate all of your team working with us to help this to happen. So we've had a number of meetings to get it to this place, and so we're looking at just a couple more days and be able to get this out to the town for review.
That's exciting. Woohoo! Okay. I think just me. No, it's okay.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
All right, next report, Mr. Walker, facilities update. Tell us how you're gonna take care of this building.
Yeah, no, it's tough act to follow, all the exciting news around, I get to come follow that, but, yeah, just, talk about some facility updates, just talk about, summer is a big time for us, for prepping the buildings and, getting some projects done throughout the building, and of course, I'm gonna give you all kind of a snapshot, but, the list goes on, and our team does an amazing job, so if I stood up here and listed everything out that we're planning to do this summer, we may not get home tonight. So I'm just gonna give you all a quick snapshot of what we planned for this summer, and then again, I'm sure I'll have the opportunity, like last year, at the end of the summer, to kind of showcase the work that was done by our team. And so the first thing I want to talk about is roof repairs at the middle school, high school. So we are experiencing some leaking in our roof throughout the building. We have been working really hard to identify where these leaks are coming from. We've had infrared scans done on our building. We have, I'm learning a lot about tar and gravel roofs, but if you know anything about that, it's a very difficult process to really just identify where everything's coming from, because sometimes where you might find where a leak could be coming from, it's not necessarily correlating with where you're identifying it in the school. And so we have been working really hard with Trimco to identify where these leaks are coming from, and we have a plan in place to move forward with some patchwork. We have ordered the materials have been ordered. And we are just now coordinating with all the things going on in our building right now at the end of the school year, with SEL testing, graduation, just to work out a good timeline, which will realistically be after graduation when they'll start to come in and do that patchwork. And the patchwork that we have now on the main high school part of that will be a 2-year warranty on the patchwork. Obviously the work that they're putting in, they'll give us a 2-year warranty. Our goal is to start putting some sort of plan in place, or a capital improvement plan as some sort of permanent fix to this roof, replacement for the roof. We have also identified some leaks in the middle school hallway. That is currently under warranty, and so Trimco will be patching that, obviously utilizing the warranty for that. And now, summer maintenance, I'll be honest with you, as I was putting my ideas out here on these slides, I think I'll start talking about some things, and you might even see where it correlates to some other points on the next slide. But summer cleaning, as you can imagine, that's really a focus on deep cleaning. And so the last few summers that I've been here, we have had some major projects going on: library renovations, cafeteria renovations. Obviously, we renovated this area as well. Flooring projects. We added a pre-K classroom last summer. So lots of projects that pull our maintenance and custodial staff kind of in a lot of different directions. And so this summer, as of right now, we don't have any major projects that they are having their hands on. And so we're really going to focus on getting into every room and just really, the deep clean, but also just identifying where maybe some paint needs to be touched up, fixing up the rooms, looking at ceiling tiles and making sure all of those are, any staining ceiling tiles, replacing those and making sure everything's kind of taken care of in each room as we move through the schools this summer. We also, last summer, if you remember, we started a new process with our terrazzo flooring. And so that was a new process for everyone. They were learning. We did that at the high school. We are now carrying that process over to the elementary school this year to buff those up and clean those up really well. And so we're hopeful to get all of the terrazzo flooring done throughout the division this summer. Every year we refinish the gym floor. And so I brought this up because in our athletic facility meeting, sometimes I think people have some questions about what that is. And so when we refinish the gym floor, it's done annually. It's just that clear finish on top to protect your wood floor. And as you can imagine, with volleyball, basketball, gym classes, just a little bit of dirt on those shoes, it's like sandpaper, right? Just wears it down throughout the year. And so to protect our gym floor, we have to have that done each year. So Performance Floors did it for us last summer. We're going to do it again this summer. We tried this year to work really hard to coordinate that with the DHSL dead period, so that it didn't impact any type of off-season conditioning and training that they might use the gym for. So we want to make sure that it cures correctly. So we have it scheduled for July 1st for them to come in, and then we are going to have the gym closed off for 2 weeks just to make sure that floor does cure. Because last summer, I feel like some people were rushing to kind of get in there before we were fully ready. And so we did coordinate with Mr. Hudgens to make sure that it coordinated with the dead period. Pre-K room upgrade. So we do have a pre-K room. Miss Allen's room currently has a storage area that houses a washer and dryer currently, and it's a really large washer and dryer. It takes a lot of space, and so they were really looking forward to maximizing that storage space. And so we're going to purchase smaller washer and dryers, the stackables, so they can stack on top of each other to create more space in that storage area with shelving, so that the pre-K teachers have more room for their storage. Exterior maintenance, and I do have some interior stuff here that I was just, like I said, I was just jotting down things on my brain that we've been working on. But outside wise, we're going to be repainting all the outdoor sheds, kind of moving around. You see, we did some shingling on some of those sheds and new roofs on some of those, and so now we're going to go through and just paint as needed to kind of spruce those up so they look good on our property. Obviously, we're going to do the touch-up paint in the classrooms and public areas. We are going to go out and paint the curb lines. They've started to fade, so just kind of brighten those up for safety purposes and make those look good. And then also scraping and repainting of the auditorium stage. That was something we talked about getting done this summer. Vehicle branding update. So if you've seen our cars, you've seen some of the stickers on the cars are starting to fade. And so we are taking the opportunity to peel those off the vehicles and then put our new logo on the vehicles. And we have some magnets for some cars so that when we're washing them and stuff, it's not tearing the stickers off and taking them off, wash them, and put them back on. And then others will have decals and stickers. And then athletic facilities. So our team, if you went to a baseball, softball game, or a baseball field on the home side dugout, if you had seen the roof over the last couple of years, it was in need of some repair. Ryan and Philip did an awesome job of replacing the metal roof on the dugout. Right before the season. We also got Wi-Fi out to the concession stand this year, which allowed us to have Wi-Fi locks on the bathrooms. So it allows us to access the locks remotely, set schedules to it, so that it kind of works alongside with all of the programs that are not necessarily our programs, but the other organizations that come in to use the facility. So we can make sure that the bathroom is open. And if we have a hiccup, it's a quick click of a button to open it up for someone, like if for some reason we have a mix up on schedules, it's just a quick fix rather than having to have a person come out with a key to unlock it.
That also reduces the need for portable potties on our property, because we can have our actual physical restrooms open for community use.
And we worked with that this year, with that change, we've definitely worked with our staff, and we have someone who goes out each day during the day to clean those bathrooms and make sure that they're ready for the afternoon practices and evening events, and that is done daily. We also, we know that the baseball, softball fields need some work, and so we know draining wise, they don't drain very well. I know Mr. Hudgens has been working in the spring. They've got some dirt to help fill in some spots throughout the season, just kind of manage the season this year. Turf Dry, they purchased that they could use to help prep fields this season, but we are actively looking. We've already started working with Commonwealth Turf to get some quotes and just really understanding the scope of work that maybe our fields need to make sure that they are up to par and meeting VHSL dimension guidelines, but also draining wise. And we know that that's going to require some planning on our end. And so we just kind of we were getting quotes right now to kind of see what does that look like, what's the scope of work look like, what can we do in-house, and in what way do you need some assistance from outside of that. And so our hope is to work with Mr. Hudgens to get some quotes in, kind of develop that scope of work, and then hopefully he can bring to you all a detailed proposal of our plan moving forward with the baseball, softball fields later this summer. So that's all I have. And again, it was just a snapshot, but I'm sure I'll be back later this summer to kind of highlight the work that was done this summer. Any questions?
Is the auditorium stage, that's not like wood finished? You said you're scraping and painting. Is it painted right now? Is that
Yes,
what it is?
it is
Oh.
It's painted black.
Every few summers you just go back and scrape it and repaint it.
It looks like it needs it a little bit.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that use it.
Luckily, we've been able to do that in-house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thresholds between the overhead doors are gone too at the stage.
And what's the condition of our Gen 4s? I know we're refinishing them, but isn't there only a certain number of times you can?
There are, and so I had someone come out actually this past year, just give us obviously they were looking to upgrade our
Yeah,
floors,
of course,
but
of
we're able
course.
to give us some just honest feedback, and I think we're good, from my understanding, for 1 or 2 more sandings on that floor. So I think, which my understanding is that, I mean, that's a pretty good amount of time too, because it's not done as often as we might think it.
Oh, so that's not done, so we don't sand it yearly?
No. We sand and repainted.
Okay.
I would say I think the last time it was done here maybe 5 years ago, but I think in between the last one was like 10 years or so. Was it? So
every 10 years, so we're saying?
Yeah, so in some divisions I've been in, it's been every 5 years, but I
Okay.
believe my understanding from what's been done here was it was a 10-year period between the last one to this one, and then this one's been done
It's
about
what
5
I've been
years.
here about 8 years, and so it's been done once in 2 years.
Okay.
I would say it's been done once in the 14 years I've been.
And so it could be, and it also could just be a schedule that we look at, you know, how often do we want to do that, but I think, you know, the comments I got was that our floor is in great condition, so, and especially for how long it's been here.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Kudos to Mr. Walker.
Yes, absolutely, thank you so much.
Hard work you do. We appreciate it.
Item number study, approach, consolidated application.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for having me tonight. So I have a brief executive summary of the consolidated application and the Title III application. In your packets, you have the full copy, which I know is very small writing. So I'm sorry about that. In the executive summary, I did outline places where you'll find some of the most important information, and I'll just go over that with you briefly. So the applications are ones that we update yearly. It coincides with the federal funding that we receive for Title I, Title II, and Title III, and Title IV. Title III is a separate application, so I'll go over that one last. We use the allocations from the previous year because the final allocations are not out yet. So the amounts that you see on the current applications are from last year, and then they will be updated through an amendment. And first, let me, the best part of this process is it's not a me process, it's a us process. So I have a federal program advisory committee, and we meet regularly. It includes parents, interventionists, the Title I teacher, Mrs. Waddy, who is the Title II administrator. We have other teachers that are on the committee who we meet regularly. We go over the goals that we're working on. Where are we? What are we doing to make sure we meet those goals? And then the proposal of the new goals. So when you see what's in the application, it has been reviewed and discussed throughout the year. So the pages 7, 11, 12, 13, and 14 will have the goals that are proposed for this year. Those goals on the consolidated application include a academic map goal, and that's for our 5th grade team. We decided on that goal because we've been following that cohort of students since 3rd grade. So we identified through a needs assessment that in 3rd grade, our SOL scores were not where we wanted them to be in math. And so once in 4th grade this year, they met the goal. 86% of our students right now for preliminary SOL data, they were at 86% pass rate, and that's what our goal was, 75%. So they met that goal. We didn't want to not follow that next cohort through 5th grade because 5th grade math is difficult. And 5th grade math is what sets our students up for looking at an advanced track. And so we wanted to make sure that we were still supporting that team. Support for the team looks like monthly data meetings with a Title I and Title II administrator. That's part of the support that they receive through this application. Our Title I and Title II administrators meet with all grade levels quarterly to go over their data and their kids, but it's all kids. What this allows, the monthly meetings allow for them to look at our most at-risk students, and really hone in on them more so that they get to discuss them more often. Because we need to be making sure that we have the interventions in place for those students. Our reading goal, we are on track to meet that goal. We were 74%. Our goal is 75% of our students score pass proficient on the SOL. We're at 74%, and that doesn't include our retakes. So we're expecting that we will meet the goal for this year. And then in looking at our goal for next year, we looked at our VALS data, which is new data since that's the new test that's been released. And we noticed in that data that we were seeing more students were scoring in the concerned rating than in the spring or in the fall. So we're not sure why that's happening yet. That's a brand new test. And so we're not sure if it's part of the test. We're not sure if it's part of the sequence in terms of where our pacing is. So we want to get a little bit more information on that. So we chose our second grade team. Those teams have been notified. We have had meetings with them so that they're aware next year they'll be our Title I focus groups. And then our third goal, we always, based on our needs assessment and based on the input from the teams, we always transfer our Title IV money to our Title II program. And what that allows is we have used it for frontline in the past for evaluations. And this year we're proposing to use that for professional development. But I'll speak a little bit on the Title II goal that was from the 24-25 application. It was for all of our interventionists to be evaluated at least 2 times during the school year. We did great with our teacher. We've come a long way with our teacher evaluations. And so sticking with the frontline goal has really paid off in terms of it's second nature now. Like we are doing great with teacher evaluations and walkthroughs. But we noticed that we were not hitting our interventionists who are vital in providing that support in terms of interventions and instructional support. So when we looked at our data the year before, we realized that was a group that was missing. So 24-25, our focus group was our interventionists, at least 2 observations or walkthroughs, and we've met that goal. So we're shifting gears this next year, and we're looking at our support with our building and central office leadership and professional development in terms of how the Berkeley group is going to be supporting us this year. So that's what you'll see in terms of the goals. And when you go through those pages, because I know you're going to look at every single one of those pages, you'll see a summary of last year's goals, and if we met it, you'll also see this year's goals, and you'll see the justification as to why we selected those, and the needs assessment data that supports it. Page 8 is a summary of the roles and responsibilities of the Title I teacher and the Title II administrator. So briefly, our Title I teacher, Mrs. Farmer, I will not be able to remember all of the things that she supports because it's so much. She's been involved in the Virginia Literacy Act. She's been involved in VALS and training our teachers on VALS. She's been involved with bookworms. She is involved in analyzing our data and being able to present that out. She's involved in setting up these data meetings, completing summary reports, keeping up with our Title I shared drive so all of our information is together, and so much more. And then Mrs. Waddy, in addition to her assistant principal role, she is also our Title II administrator for instruction and interventions. She takes care of all of our testing responsibilities at the building. She also helps to coach and model for teachers that are new or that need support. She's working side by side with Mrs. Farmer in terms of making sure that our student interventions are being delivered to fidelity. We've made huge gains in terms of our interventions being provided with fidelity. Mrs. Waddy has been integral in making sure that we're not using our interventionists who are involved in those reading and math interventionists as substitutes. And so we have so much, we're just so thankful that that has become a priority. So, in terms of our West Point allocation, we have, again, we're using last year's allocation, which is approximately $83,000. We use all of that funding for the Title I teacher's salary and benefits. That does not one-to-one correlate to that, but that's what we use our funds for. You'll see also there's some information there for you about our homeless set-aside requirement. And then I'll move on. Does anybody have any questions about Title I?
So what is that? Can you explain the homeless set aside?
Yeah.
Because I see we normally have 0, now we have 5,
Yeah.
and then.
Is that $50?
So,
what's that?
What's that 50?
Yes.
So
we have a team of individuals that includes the counselor. It includes Amy Busick, who is our family support specialist. It includes building administrators and myself. And we look at what we feel like is an appropriate amount of money, because we're required to set aside at least $100 per student that is identified as being homeless through McKinney-Vento. And so we looked at that amount and we determined, is that meeting what our students need? Because we're looking at our students receiving support for clothing, our students receiving support for school supplies, our students being able to attend school-wide functions like field trips, and being able to participate in those things with their peers. And so when we looked at the things that the school is supporting, laundry and detergent, we're washing clothes for them so that they have clean clothes. We also have people that are donating things. We are among wonderful people here, and we make sure that our students are taken care of. And so we felt like the 100 wasn't quite cutting it, but 150 was.
Okay.
And so after that committee met, we decided 150 per student was an appropriate amount to be able to support them in terms of the school doing that.
Those are students that are considered homeless or even doubled up. You know, they had to be doubled up with another family because of their
Situation.
home situation.
Okay.
And so that's why you see the increase.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Can you tell me what sorry, that was just Title I question. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Title II, the focus of that is preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers and principals. So there's no changes to the utilization of our funds. We receive approximately $16,000, and our funds those funds go to supporting Mrs. Waddy's position, because it is well above and beyond what she's doing as a typical assistant principal. Right now, she is double dutying, being a school testing coordinator, and then also continuing to support those grade level teams as we're looking at that data, making plans for our students next year to make sure that our interventions are ready to go. Title IV is 21st century schools. Again, we transfer all of our funds to Title II because we don't get a lot of money in Title II. So we feel like we get the biggest bang for our buck in terms of trying to, this option that we have through Title II, preparing, training, and recruiting, that is a high priority area. Retention and recruitment is something that we feel is very important for our leaders and our teachers. In order to support our teachers, our leaders have to be strong, prepared, competent. And so moving those funds gives us a little bit more leeway. And so again, we've seen the benefit that we got from Frontline pay off in huge dividends in terms of moving from paper copies of evaluations to now everything being digitalized and then available for different administrators, for people coming from another building, to being able to really hone in on what people's goals are for professional development and providing feedback. The next layer that we're looking at is an inspiring leadership academy for new administrators, for people that are new to the position, for seasoned administrators that need refreshers. So we're really excited about the Berkeley group partnering with us in a structured way to be able to provide professional development throughout the year so that we can support our teachers.
So what would I'm not opposed to doing that, but what would normally go under 21st century schools? Like what would be a thing in that category?
It can be enrichment. It can be, it's also like safety in schools. So like it can be programs that might assist with social emotional learning. It may assist with like behavior things.
Like one year
I was just curious.
Right. One year we did like outdoor classrooms.
I think we're fortunate because it's only $10,000.
Yeah.
So we have a lot more flexibility, where if you're in a bigger division, you have to use it on certain things, or only use a certain percentage towards certain things.
Okay.
But for us, we have a little more flexibility because it's the minimum of what they give for Title IV.
And then for the Aspiring Leaders Academy, which I'm not opposed to, I just did one in Gloucester. You mentioned like current admin.
So this first year will be for current admin. So our current assistant principals, current athletic director, so those folks who are current but still a little newer in their roles.
Okay.
And then once we finish with the Berkeley group and gathering all the, creating all the materials, then we will be set to be able to extend that to the next generation. So looking at teacher leaders, and furthering that program. And it also comes with coaching for our current administrators, and we'll be partnering with the Berkeley group, but also our division leadership co-presenting in sessions, so they kind of know the West Point way and the West Point STEM on how we do things instructionally, operations, finance, all of it.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll jump to the Title III consortium application. We're in a consortium because we don't get a lot of funding for Title III. You'll see that last year we got approximately $1,900. It's because of our size and the few numbers that we have for EL students, although for us, we feel like it's a larger number than we're used to, because we want to support each and every one of those students the best we can, and $1,900 just doesn't do that. But we want to make sure that we're using those funds to the maximum, to our maximum ability that we can. So we are proposing to use those funds to support general education teachers and staff to be able to help their students in the classroom. So previously, those funds were used for our EL family support or engagement position. It wasn't really a position. He was our part-time Spanish teacher and then part-time EL teacher. And then he received a stipend for things that he did to support families, like he did things like checking on them in terms of if they needed to go to the doctor, if they needed help with making phone calls, if they needed help with like homework and things like that. We're looking at now, really, especially with the new framework coming out, we're looking at improved student outcomes. How can we help our EL students in terms of their academic performance? And looking at some of our EL data that we have over time in terms of their WIDA scores, we see in looking at that needs assessment that we just want to target that in a little bit of a different way. We also finished our Title III monitoring, and that we have some suggestions, and that was supporting our elementary school with an EL endorsed teacher. So we're moving in that direction. We have Mrs. Gowers, who is an EL endorsed teacher, and then we also have Mrs. Shannon, who is very interested in getting that EL endorsement. So we're looking at, Mrs. Britt's been integral in kind of looking at that master schedule, so we can figure out and be creative about how we can serve our EL students during the instructional day and not after school. So part of that is, we want our general education teachers to be equipped to be able to feel like they are able to support those students in the gen ed classroom as much as possible. So we're looking at like a PLC of general education teachers who are willing and want to learn more. Book study, there's some modules on TTAC, and Mrs. Gower's facilitating that. And then that money will be used for stipends for those individuals who are interested, because the work will have to happen after school hours. And we wanna make sure that we're paying them for that.
Thank you, Ms. Roach.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah,
Do you need this for an action item, or when do you need this approved?
By next month.
Do you want this for an action item tonight? And you can just finish
Sure,
it?
that would be great.
I have a motion to approve, to move the consolidated application. Action item.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, the motion carries. We'll put that as aye. For action item I, Mr. Rich.
Thank you.
Okay. Great segue. Let's get into action items.
Are you gonna move the Title III application too? Or just the consolidated?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
They're two separate.
Oh, it's two separate.
Yes.
Apologies. Do I have a motion to move Title III as well? Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. We'll have that as H. Apologies, I thought consolidated. J.
A, B, C,
Yeah.
D, E.
I assume consolidated mean both. All right, now let's get into some action items.
Let's go.
Action. All right. Do I have a motion to consider approving our expenditures and receive our revenue reports?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, the motion carries. Do I have a motion to consider approving our cafeteria expenditures?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, that motion carries. Do I have a motion to consider approving our personnel recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve our donation?
So moved.
Help with the fifth grade there.
Mhm.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, motion carries. Policy revisions. Do I have a motion to approve our policy revisions presented on April 15th?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, that motion carries. Let's see, tuition renewals. Do I have a motion to approve tuition renewals for the 25-26 school year?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, that motion carries. Next, we have our initial tuition student applications. Do I have a motion to approve the initial tuition students for 25-26?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, motion carries. Do I have a motion to consider approving a one-time retention bonus for division staff?
So moved.
Are there any questions about it? So, just as an FYI, this is one thing that has come out of the amended budget from the state with the governor's proposal and the General Assembly's proposal together. We're still waiting on the final calc tool. They said we should get sometime early June. but it is still, from my last report, I told you all that it was looking favorable for us. So it still looks favorable, but I don't want to give you any specific numbers until I know exactly what they are. But one thing that was in the budget is this one-time bonus, and the bonus includes all SOQ positions, but historically in this division we support all the positions, and so we'll have the funds in severe and money to make sure that all of our employees will either get that $1,000 or the $500, whether they're full-time or part-time, and this is for employees that are returning. So if they have signed their contract and are returning for next year, they would be eligible for bonus.
Great. All right, I think we had a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, the motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve our consolidated application?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, the motion carries. Excuse me, do I have a motion to approve our Title III application?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, the motion carries. All right, it's action items. Information. Dr. Frazier, you want to call out?
Graduation was Friday.
Make sure you're there by 6:45.
6:45?
I'll shut the doors at 6:45.
All right. We got some quite a few future agenda items.
Yep.
Pretty good. All right. Some other items for future. All right, so our next regular meeting will be June 17th.